The new cooperative championship season gets underway here at the Leigh Sports Village as the champions, the Barrow Raiders, take on one of the sides aiming to be among the challengers this season, the Leigh Centurions. Now this is the first victory in round one in the championship campaign, coming up on Saturday, 7 o'clock in Toulouse. Toulouse take on Dewsbury Rams. Then on Sunday at 3 o'clock, Featherstone Rovers face the Batley Bulldogs. Halifax host Sheffield Eagles, and Widnes Vikings take on the Keighley Cougars. And then in Championship 1 on Sunday, an historic day at Neath as the South Wales Scorpions open their campaign with a home game against Workington. That's on Sunday at 1 o'clock. At 3 o'clock on Sunday, Hunslet Hawks take on Gateshead Thunder. Rochdale face Doncaster. Swinton Lions host Oldham, and York City Knights take on the London Scholars. But here at the Leigh Sports Village, it's the Centurions against the Barrow Raiders, and this is how the Centurion side looks. Stuart Donlan is at full-back, Steve Maiden, then Matty Blythe, one of the players that Leigh have recruited on dual registration, Mick Nannin, Dave Olstead, Tim Hartley and Robbie Paul, their big close season signing, who will captain the side. In the forwards, Chris Hill, John Duffy returning to his former club, Jacob Emmett, another one of their dual registered players, James Taylor, Lee Mitchell and Tyrone McCarthy, those two as well, dual registered players from the Warrington club. And on the bench, another Luluai, McGruff Luluai, brother of Thomas, David Armistead, Tommy Goulden and Dave McConnell. And there's a familiar name in the coaching role, Ian Millwood, back at the club where it all started for him back in the 1990s. Now Barrow Raiders, Gary Broadbent is at full-back. It's a very familiar looking Raiders side. Andy Ballard, Danny Hallowell, Liam Harrison, James Nixon, Jamie Rooney and James Coyle. In the forwards, Andy Braycheck, Andrew Henderson, their big close season signing, one of them, Rob Roberts, Richard Fletcher, another new recruit, Ned Katic and Zeb Luisi. And then on the bench, Chris Young, Paul Noon, Nathan Mossop and Brett McDermott, and another new coach. Steve McCormack has taken the reins at Barrow Raiders. There is Ian Millwood back here at Leigh. Well, it was very different when he was at Leigh. They were up the road, of course, but now he's got a spanking new ground to operate in, and the club hoping that he can turn the clock back and guide Leigh to the glory they need this season if they're to be considered for a Super League licence. A grand final appearance or Northern Rail Cup victory is what they are after this season. Steve McCormack, though, we mentioned, a new coach for the Barrow Raiders, coming from Gateshead after their decision to opt for a Championship 1 campaign. So McCormack's Barrow side take the field. The champions last year, Terry, Steve McCormack, has got a hard act to follow, hasn't he?
He has. I was down talking to some of the Barrow players before, and what hit me was how big they were. They are a real big physical side. They are looking to dominate this Leigh side. But if you look at Leigh, Jamie Rooney there in your picture, he's the man that they brought in on a permanent deal. They'll be looking for a lot of guidance, to be a lot more composed. But they're playing against the Leigh side that'll be led by Robbie Paul. The man has been brought in. Ian Millwood wants him to be dominant, and there he is, that man in the picture leading this Leigh side out. There's going to be explosions tonight.
Well, the Leigh supporters in good numbers here at the Sports Village. It's been a busy week for them. They had Manchester United reserves against Blackburn Rovers reserves on this pitch last night. A 1-1 draw between those two sides. Blackburn play their reserve team games here. You've also got the local football team. There is Steve McCormack, and he'll be talking down still to Dave Clark. Dave Clark is still at the club. Gareth Hewer is the man in charge. Dave Clark soon, though, to move on. He'll become a community coach at the Wigan Warriors. It's a good step up for him, leaving behind a very successful 9-year stint at Barrow Raiders. And it'll be Barrow who'll get us underway. Referee Hewer gets the championship campaign going, and a high hanging start from Rooney, which Leigh are able to gather. It's a positively balmy spring evening here at Leigh Sports Village. Cannot believe it. There's no snow, there's no ice, there's no fog. It's summer rugby.
We've been waiting for summer to turn up. The Championship's brought it. Really interested to see how both sides will play today. Both got new coaches, a new philosophy, a new wind of change in both clubs. Barrow did so well last year, and Leigh will be looking to build on their success as a club as far as the stadium and match that with some performances on the pitch.
Robbie Paul's kick, he just stepped outside the 40. Gareth Hewer left in, no doubt about that, with a loud shout. And the kick fielded by Gary Broadbent. And now here's Ballard. Ducks under the first of the tacklers from Leigh Mitchell, one of the dual-registered players that Leigh have recruited. They've taken advantage of this new initiative from the RFL. Now here's Ned Katic, has been in good form at the start of this season so far in the Northern Rail. Got a hat-trick in the last game, in fact, for the Barrow Raiders. Oh, shot high on Henderson. Certainly rocked him back, and the ball's come loose.
Great shot from Leigh Mitchell. Leigh get the ball back. One of the Warrington players that have joined the Leigh club. If that's anything to judge him by, the Leigh fans are in for a good time off him.
It's Tyrone McCarthy who came up with the ball for Leigh.
Good hit, good impact, drives him back and dislodges the ball.
Here's Robbie Paul now. Paul, low pass. Now Hartley. It's Nannin who plays the ball. So Leigh bearing down on the Barrow line. A real hodgepodge of pitch markings out there at the moment. You've got lines running all over the place, the ball going all over the place for the Leigh Centurions, and disappointment from Matty Blythe there as that promising move came to an end.
He had a little look up at Jamie Rooney, who was just in his eye line. He's trying to make that play before he even catches the ball. He's to be disappointed with that, Matty Blythe. But what's got to be early on in the season and early on in the games, you've got to make sure you complete your set to 6. You've got to make sure that you set the groundwork for your half-backs to play off. And both sides will be disappointed that they've turned the ball over.
I wonder whether one of the drawbacks of this dual-registered situation is the players going backwards and forwards, because they'll be going back to their own club, won't they?
They will do, but this dual registration as well, it's for players who are outside the top 20 earners and the youngsters who are not quite ready for Super League but given a chance in this championship. They're there to prove themselves, so the Super League clubs then call them back.
And I think it's a fair point that Bill's making. Most of them will spend the first 4 days of the week with the parent club and then go back to that dual registration club, and it's difficult for them to fit in. Barrow on the break.
Nixon's got away, he's down that left-hand side, he's got support on the inside if he chooses to use it. Rooney was screaming out for the ball, but Nixon took the tackle. Why didn't he give the pass? Well, they've still got the opportunity here. Is Zed Luisi. Luisi back in field to Braycheck. Braycheck trying to bounce off Mitchell, but the penalty is awarded.
Again, it was that man, Leigh Mitchell, who's looking to dominate. Is it John Duffy on the floor?
No, I think it's Andy Braycheck that's on the floor. Just looking in back play, James Nixon went straight off the field as soon as he played that ball. Clash of heads. Let's hope it's not an eye socket or a cheek ball. Look at that. Nothing malicious in that tackle.
Gareth Hewer just getting, I think, a word from Robert Hicks, who's this video ref this evening, and the referee just wondering what that was about. Well, it was. I mean, Mitchell led with the head.
Look at that, though. He's been committed on defence, as Leigh Mitchell. He's come up with 2 shots there. Andy Braycheck, the marbles are rocking in the head.
Okay.
Well, there's one of the dual-registered players. He's definitely putting his body on the line and trying to impress Tony Smith from the Warrington club.
He made his mark on the former Warrington man, Andy Braycheck, who is in fact, I think, being led off the field now. Just as he really tries to unscramble the old marbles. The Barrow supporters, quite a few have made the journey this evening, applauding Braycheck as he leaves the field. So early problems for the Barrow Raiders. We heard about Nixon having problems. Well, Braycheck now, but Barrow have the penalty, and Rooney just trying to maybe calm things down a little bit after that flurry of action. Get the first points on the board. He's missed it.
Well, this is the challenge now. One of your teammates has just been clattered, and it's how will Barrow respond. You've got to be a brave man when you carry this ball forward, and what you need is support around you.
So Barrow already forced into making changes. Here's Duffy. Taylor, strong run from the second rower. There is Andy Braychek. Doesn't, well, a bit of blood from the mouth, but looks as though he'll be able to return soon enough. Chris Hill now, that's the 5th tackle. Good defensive stint, this from the Barrow Raiders, but Leigh have gone looking for a 40-20. Hartley's kick is not a good one. Fielded by Ballard, infield to Gary Broadbent. Broadbent bouncing off the first tackler, who was Robbie Paul. Brought down by Jake Emmett.
It wasn't a good kick, Bill, but they've managed to go 70 yards, and it's how they control the first set of 3. Again, this Leigh side are working really hard, getting off the line, trying to turn the opposition onto the back, so it's a slow play the ball.
That's good, eh? Make sure you keep it up.
They get the penalty to the Barrow Raiders. That was a high shot. Emmett the culprit that time.
Tyrone McCarthy just leading, trying to basically get him down, just lunging with the arm there. Glances the top of his eyebrows.
Rooney then belts that one into touch. So Barrow Raiders having fair domination of territory at the moment. Here's Richard Fletcher, one of the close season recruits. There hasn't been a great deal of upheaval at the Barrow Raiders. A part of that is from the coaching changeover, but Dave Clark's still there at the moment for another 3 games till he takes on his new job at Wigan. Henderson's run finds Fletcher, but no great pace there. Fletcher struggles to his feet. Roberts the dummy runner. Here's Rooney now. Rooney brings Ned Cattett back on the inside. Runs into some good Leigh defence.
I've been watching where Mitch is. That again is the 3rd big shot he's come up with.
Short pass finds Zeb Luisi. Leigh fans thought that was forward. On the last now. Here is Rooney. Rooney will feint to go for a little chip kick, dummies them superbly, gets the first try in the championship for the Barrow Raiders. And what a finish that was. Reminiscent of Lee Breers' sort of trickery. Well, it's Rooney's own little magic as well. And the coach applauding that from his standoff, and he foxed them there. Gets his 2nd try of the season, and he made that look so easy.
Leigh have done all the hard work. They've got up the other end of the park, and then Tyrone McCarthy has given this penalty away. It's relieved all the pressure. This Barrow side are looking to attack Leigh's right-hand side. Mitchell comes out the line. He's already come up with 3 big shots in this game. He's come out the line. He's looking for Rooney. Rooney sees that he comes out the line. He shapes the pass. He knows that nobody's there, and he goes over for that try. Look at the vision on Rooney. Just has a look up. He shapes the kick. Simple try for Rooney.
No suggestion of an obstruction there. Ned Cattett was involved, but nothing untoward according to the referee. So Rooney will try and convert his own try. That he does. And Jamie Rooney with a classic bit of footwork, just gliding through the defence there. Puts the Barrow Raiders 6-0 up, but they've had their problems early on here, Barrow. Let's go down to the sidelines and get the news on that from Brian Carney.
Yes, that's right. Good start on the scoreboard, but they've got some early injury worries. Andy Braychek with a mouth injury. He's expected to return to the field. James Nixon, however, is a different story. A suspected broken arm is what we're being told, and we're not sure he's going to have any further participation in this game. That is a blow. That is a big blow. If Nixon has picked up a long-term injury, what a miss he will be. And well, it's ironic that is, because he was free on that left-hand side. He had Rooney in support. If would have, could have, should have, if he'd given the ball, they would have been in for the try. He didn't. And Nixon, who had 31 tries last season, is such an important member of this Barrow side. And that is grim news for them. And it's interesting how Barrow are now going to reshuffle the back line. I'm seeing that Noona's gone into the right centre, Halliwell's gone into the left wing, and how will that change the dynamics? You're talking about putting the ball to the dangerous player. We see Brett McDermott just lose control of the ball under a bit of pressure from Leigh.
Good grapple, good wrestle. Leigh get the ball back in the red zone.
Here is Robbie Paul now, and Leigh hoping that he can guide them to great things this season. Such vast experience in the game from his long career, much of it spent, of course, at Bradford. Now Leigh really haven't been down this end of the field for a long while, but they have an opportunity here as Robbie Paul turns the ball back inside and is taken by Tyrone McCarthy. Attacking an end populated by lots of young Leigh supporters. The ball popped up. That's the 5th tackle right underneath those posts. Duffy urging his players on. It's now with Hartley. Hartley will hoist this one into the corner. Ballard is underneath it. They've got good cover. Nannin got a hand to it, but it was Nannin's hand that sent it out of play. No, it wasn't. It was a Barrow hand that touched it, and it'll be a goal line dropout.
A perfect result for Leigh. Here we see the break. Let's just have a... Ooh, yes, you just see where he puts his left arm down. And not only his weight, but the weight of the two players. Just look at it there, snap. Holy moly. You can't watch that too many times.
Rooney went for an audacious goal line dropout, trying to find touch, I think. But instead, not only have they conceded possession, they've now conceded a penalty. So that's all gone wrong.
Liam Harrison thought it was a one-man tackle, and that's why he stripped the ball off Blythe. Blythe done ever so well to gather that ball. You can see he goes down. Harrison goes for the strip.
Is he allowed to take that ball? His left arm,
but the right hand off carry actually touched his shoulder.
It's a knock on there by Mitchell, right in the shadow of those posts, and Leigh Mitchell, who'd made such a literally an impact in this game early on.
Poor grip. His friends at Warrington won't like that. Just as he's playing the wall, he's had such an eventful opening 10.5 minutes or so. But as we say about the dual registration, experiences like this, knowledge and education like this as a rugby player is invaluable. In this kind of environment, this kind of cauldron, you can't get that in under-20s.
And Leigh Mitchell and co are playing alongside some very experienced players, and Rob Roberts there just playing the ball is one of them. Brett McDermott, another one. They've been round the block, they know about it all. They'll learn a few things from them, not necessarily all. Leave it there. Here's Paul Noon.
Hold the line, Chris, left the foot. Go.
Noon plays the ball. Henderson for Rob Roberts. Roberts wrestles his way to the 40-metre line in his own half. And Rooney, will he try for a 40-20? Will he just sort of pop that one into a bit of space? And it's sat up nicely. Ballard was hoping to get on the end of it. They were offside.
In front, give him 10.
Offside, and you've got to credit Leigh's defence. Again, you can see that Rooney gets the kick, he puts it away. There's 3 players in front of him, that's why the referees give the offside decision. But great defence again. 26 metres, that's all they made, Barrow, coming out of their zone. Because Leigh's defence is so strong, getting off the line and controlling the speed of which they play that ball.
Barrow Raiders leading through that Jamie Rooney try early on, but Leigh now having recovered their composure, coming back at them now. Here is Duffy. Duffy, little scampering run from him. Roberts with the tackle. Roberts stays down. Here is Tim Hartley. Hartley driving for the line, but then driven back by the Barrow Raiders defence.
2 feet wide.
Cattercombe Broadbent in there. Duffy to Robbie Paul. Robbie Paul floats the ball out, acres of space, and Donlan just goes through a gaping hole in that Barrow Raiders defence. And they plotted that one well and finished it off very calmly. And Stuart Donlan back at Leigh for his second spell with his hometown club, getting his first try of the season with that one.
Again, the strong defence has got him into this field position. Robbie Paul, he just takes that ball to the line. He's got movement, he's got shape outside him. John Duffy come up with a fantastic run the play before that to get him in this field position, and that was an easy try for Stuart Donlan. See that Liam Harrison gets attracted, Coyle gets caught up, and he just can't get there for the fullback, Stuart Donlan, to go in for the try.
A hole there as big as some of the potholes on Britain's motorways for Stuart Donlan to exploit. And Leigh gets their first championship points of the season. Of course, both these sides in action already in the Northern Rail Cup. Both have won 2, lost 1 so far in qualifying. Both looking on course for the knockout stages, you'd think. And the Northern Rail Cup, one of the targets for them this season. And now Mick Nannin, this points machine, who came here from Harlequins after a disappointing spell with them, wasn't able to contribute, but he certainly does that in the championship. And this to tie the scores. The Scottish international thumps that one high and wide, and Nannin misses. Uncharacteristic error from him. Leigh 4, Barrow Raiders 6 the scoreline, but Ian Millward's men putting a nice attack together there. Donlan finishing it off.
The Leigh Orchestra are playing a sweet tune, and it's Robbie Paul, the chief tromboner. He just gives a nice little short pass. And Donlan just adding the final note.
Another high restart, and the cavalry came charging in there. And Matty Blythe did well to escape.
Obstruction, could have been.
Here is Robbie Paul. Now Leigh Mitchell, you really have Owen Mitchell getting a taste of his own medicine there.
Oh, Brett McDermott will teach him a few lessons. As you've very much mentioned, just a little bit over 30. Tough competitor. And Leigh choosing to send that person through, putting the ball behind him to that backfield runner. They've got to be close at different points to obstruction. I thought during that last try there was a case for Leigh to accuse them of that.
Gary Broadbent plays the ball. Here is Ballard now. Former Salford and Oldham man Andy Ballard, another one of the players who came here with Steve Deakin last season. Of course, the first game in charge for him was an emphatic 74 points to 6 win against Leigh. What a start that was. And James Coyle got 4 tries that night for the Barrow Raiders. What a debut for him. Here is Andrew Henderson. Leigh under pressure. Donlan looking at that kick, but had bags of time as the kick was hoisted by Rooney.
He was like Jedward as he received that ball then, singing to himself, under pressure, no problem.
Just looking at the stats for the tackle, as you can see, Donlan take that. Gary Broadbent has made 6 tackles. They've only made 14. He's the second highest on the tackle count for this Barrow side. That is how much field possession and how much pressure this Leigh side are putting on Barrow.
McCarthy now. Oh, good. Well, tried the offload, and the ball has come up for Leigh. McDermott almost got a hand to it, and then it was snaffled by Matty Blythe as it ricocheted kindly for the Centurions, and they keep it alive. Here is Hartley now. Hartley back on the inside to Robbie Paul. Robbie Paul ducks under the first challenge. Typical Robbie Paul footwork there, skipping away. Donlan in support. Great support play. They just couldn't finish off there from James Taylor, but the attack isn't over. Duffy will ship it wide via Robbie Paul. Robbie Paul hoists the kick. Brilliant. A brilliant try from the Leigh Centurions. Olstead finishing it off on the far side. But what a build-up that was, and that man in the middle of the shot, Robbie Paul, had so much to do with it. And Olstead on the end of the kick.
They've got so many players who can cause you problems. Tyrone McCarthy offloads the ball. Matty Blythe not in an offside position. Here again, you got John Duffy. They take the ball forward, and there he is, the man. Robbie Paul, he takes a bit of a high shot, he keeps his feet, he's looking to play. On every occasion, Leigh get down this end of the park, they're looking to promote the ball. What does Robbie Paul do when he gets this ball in his hand? He looks where Danny Halliwell is, the winger. He sees that he's coming, he's jammed up too far, and he just kicks a nice little neat pass over to Dave Olstead, who goes in for the try. Fantastic reading by Robbie Paul. You can see he doesn't pressure himself into throwing that long ball. Halliwell had come in, he saw that Olsted was free, and a neat little kick for Olsted to score that try.
Tim Hartley with the goal-kicking duties, relieving Mick Nanning of the job, and Hartley has landed that one, and Leigh go in front by 10 points to 6. That try from Dave Olsted, his third of the campaign.
Just watch this, Bill. If Leigh have questioned the club, or sorry, if the Leigh fans have questioned the club about what ambition they've got for this year, just look at the passion in that face, look at the intent, look at Robbie Paul and what he's taken on board. And if I'm guessing right, they're saying that Barrow are very tight, let's get away from that ruck area. When we start to go forward, let's attack them on the fringes. That's just what they did in that previous set of 6.
So Barrow Raiders from 6-0 up find themselves trailing by 10 points to 6.
Richard Westwood, go.
And a lovely, lovely try from the Leigh Centurions. Here is Matty Blythe now. And the Leigh supporters enjoying what they're seeing from their side. They didn't enjoy an awful lot last season, certainly at the start of the campaign, because they lost their first 3 home games of the campaign. They finished off strongly at home, but they weren't that hot at home early on, and their intent is to be tough to beat on their own pitch. Well, tough to beat across the competition, of course.
That was a good set of 6 by Leigh. That was a get-on-board set. All the outside backs had come in, they got the ball from dummy half, and they took the ball forward. They weren't going to pass it. All they were going to do was get to the kick and look for the big forwards in the middle of the park to dominate up this end of the park.
Here is Ned Katic, and Barrow have been very quiet since that spell they had. Ironically, after they'd lost Nixon through injury and Braychek went off, they took the lead. Here is Chris Young now.
But those injuries disrupted the pattern of play. Chris Young, the number 10 that's come on the pitch, he'll get them good go forward. They want to get up to the other end of the pitch.
Coyle with the kick.
Leigh.
Coyle's kick over the top into the arms of Steve Maiden now. Maiden runs it back, but runs into a former club colleague of his, Paul Noon. 2 of them at Warrington once upon a time. Here is Mick Nanning now. Nanning across the field. And McDermott making the tackle. Henderson in there as well.
Tackle 3.
Emmett.
Back it back, Brett. Good.
St Helens player on dual registration. Hartley now. And here's James Taylor. Taylor gets the ball away to Hartley. Hartley just trying to draw the Barrow defence into an error, but Young made the tackle.
Tim Hartley's been on the end of a couple of offloads so far. Ball lost, was it ripped, was it stripped?
Penalty awarded against Barrow Raiders, the count mounting against this under pressure Barrow side.
I thought it was Ned Katic there, you can just see him with a hand in, number 12.
Robbie Paul finds touch with that not very elegant kick. And immediately sells the dummy. Blythe going for it himself, but Barrow get him into touch. Not quite.
Good strength.
It looked as though he was heading for touch, but they couldn't get him there.
3 men trying to push him in. He's on his tiptoes and he still has the strength not to go in.
Donlan back on the inside.
Forward.
The ball was forward from him.
Was too. You can see Leigh are trying to set themselves at a specific part of the pitch. Coaches often split the pitch into 70s and 30s. Olsted takes that ball. It's a forward pass. William Millward going at half-time. We're talking 22 minutes. Will he go in disappointed, or will he be really pleased with what he's seen?
Coyle, short pass, finds Fletcher. Gets to his feet. Here is Chris Young. Young then on to McDermott. Good defence from this Leigh Centurion side. Armitstead in there, and the penalty conceded.
Too eager there, the defence from Leigh. They've done all the hard work. They'd only gained a 2 metre gain from that drive by Brett McDermott. They didn't need to do that. Steve McCormack looking on. Is he worried? I'm sure they'll be saying that you've just got to get through your set to six. You've got to complete your set and try and force the error up this end of the park. When you did that early on in the first half, you looked really good.
That's a good tackle.
Fletcher stopped in his tracks by James Taylor.
And again, look at that. There's no gain at all. They're hitting them right on the ad line.
Armistead that time, what they're doing, they're putting some real intensity in the defence. A little bit too intense from Tyrone McCarthy then. Coming from good line speed. When you have good line speed, you need good technique. Unfortunately there. Just a little bit too high.
Katic the target. Shakes off the injury. So it gives Barrow Raiders an opportunity to move into Leigh territory. Haven't had that opportunity for a while, been under pressure at the other end. Just trying to retrieve a ball from between the advertising hoardings here now.
Surely they've got more than one ball.
Here is Brett McDermott now. Again, the young Tyros, Mitchell and McCarthy with the tackle. Putting themselves about these youngsters. There's no way to respect your elders. Luisi, he's going nowhere. As he goes down under the tackle of McNannon is Fletcher, and Fletcher immediately had Armistead right in his face. They're suffocating them, this Leigh Centurions defence. Young, Rooney, just for a moment sensed an opportunity there, but Matty Blythe made the tackle. Poor pass.
See, the ball is too slow from the ruck. They're not getting any good goal forward because it's too slow. You've got to play upstream. Whether or not your outside back's getting them go. But Liam Harrison again had a little look up. He's coming off a slow play of the ball. But that is because, Barry, that the defence from Leigh is so strong.
I think that Harrison was cutting behind there. He was looking to come inside, come away from the sideline. And once the ball had been passed, he can't change the direction of the ball once it's been passed.
McCarthy felt that from Brett McDermott as he went down on the halfway line. And then the kick from Hartley is a good deep one. And Ballard retrieves that.
That's a good kick chase. Look at the numbers there for the Leigh club.
Nowhere for Gary Broadbent to go.
Now we'll see some line speed.
Ballard similarly closed down very quickly indeed. And they really are moving up very quickly, the Leigh Centurions defenders, so that Barrow just can't make any progress. Certainly not up the middle, and not much out wide either. Chris Young plays the ball. There's young Nathan Mossop. Celebrated his 22nd birthday last weekend. On the last. They're running it, and Paul Noon now. Noon has Ballard outside him. Now Ballard, will he chip ahead? He will, but it's going to be easy for Donlan, I think. And Donlan will get there first, and he'll turn the tables. Donlan has turned the tables. Maiden was on his inside, but maybe that was the right decision because the defenders were coming across to close down Steve Maiden. That was forward, surely, to Armistead.
Unlike the previous break, Bill, in the first 5 or so minutes, Donlan made the right decision. There were too many defenders, too many Barrow players in between him and his supporting runner.
Tackle three.
3 tackles gone. Donlan, Duffy it is who goes down. Robbie Paul now. Tim Hartley. Hartley, here is Donlan, and Donlan fancies a second. It very nearly opened up for him.
Stay on the line, Scott. 2 feet.
Katic and McDermott make the tackle. Duffy, Robbie Paul now. Robbie Paul back in field to Tyrone McCarthy. Hit that one at pace, but the defence was good again, and once more it was Katic shoring things up in the middle for the Barrow Raiders. Hartley now, he shapes to kick, then finds Armistead. Noon desperately trying to stop him offloading, and they did well there.
But again, still trying to play that second phase rugby. This Leigh side. Referee just calling time off while Barrow get the ball back in the hand. But again, it's heartbreaking for this Barrow set of forwards when all that Leigh seems to be doing with Robbie Paul, Tim Hartley, they're turning the big set behind, kicking the ball behind them, making them retreat, bring the ball back. It's a tough old game.
Tim Hartley on that occasion surrendered the ball, and I don't think his team were too disappointed, because I just think, here we go, another chance to hit somebody as hard as we can.
And just to point out for Barrow supporters who might have joined us late on, because it happened so early on, James Nixon out of the game with a suspected broken arm and on his way to hospital, we understand, and that is a major blow for them. The Championship's top try scorer last season, 31 tries, 35 tries the season before in Championship 1, and already out of the campaign. But a little chip ahead, and Noon is on the end of it, and Noon trying to get there again, but great pick-up from Maiden, and Maiden will take him on. Good defence in the end. It needed to be as well from Richard Fletcher. But again, Barrow caught on the counter.
That was a poor kick from Barrow. Desperate kick, just trying to create something from nothing, rather than grabbing the field position, getting out of their own end. Desperate kick. Will they be made to pay?
Robbie Paul trying to find his way through the defence, but went without the ball there.
A familiar sight. Steps off his right foot, attacking those bigger players, but it's Rob Roberts who just manages to get an arm to it. And Robbie Paul, the old maestro, just loses his grip. Had a fantastic opening 30 minutes. Had a hand in both tries for Leigh. There's Ian Millward just having a word with another one of his important players. That magic triangle. Hartley, Paul and Duffy going to be so important for Leigh this year.
11 to go.
Bit of a hold up here while
I wonder if they took that kicking duties off you.
I think it's Lee Mitchell has a bit of treatment.
Yeah, it is, Bill. I think there's a bit of kidology here. I think he knows that his team have been under a bit of pressure. They're up here now. They're trying to get a bit of energy back into the legs because they want to put so much into the defensive work in this area of the park.
He ended up being Doolally then, and he didn't know where to go, whether to get in the pack or go in the centre or what.
Here is Zeb Luisi now. Luisi. Mitchell there to make the tackle, seems to have shaken off that injury, whatever it was. Now here's Rob Roberts. Really been around as Rob Roberts, I think on his 11th club, is it? Certainly done most of the rugby league map. The ball has been spilled by Chris Young and picked up by Blythe, and Blythe gets it away well to Mitchell. Mitchell comes back in field. Olstead was looking for it, rather given up on it, but now he gets his chance. And Barrow Raiders had given up on it there as well. They went to sleep as that ball was offloaded by Mitchell, and now they find themselves under pressure again. Here is Robbie Paul. Again, drifting across the defensive line. Now Hartley, Donlan pass out wide. Oh, Maiden, it opened up for him for a moment, but Ballard did well to close him down, so Maiden goes back in field for a moment. It looked as though he'd got acres of space and time, but Ballard got across to shut down that particular avenue. But they're not home and dry yet, and here is Dave McConnell.
Hold the line, hold.
Still plenty of tackles to play with. McCarthy. Barrow weren't going to be caught there. Hartley's pass, and Taylor took that one standing still virtually, just had to check his stride. But they've got numbers out wide here, but Nannin's going to use his strength, is he, to try and get this ball down, or have they held him up?
No,
they held him up.
There.
They did well there, because Mick Nannin takes some holding up. Normally in that situation, a couple of yards away from the line, you'd put your money on Nannin getting the try, but Barrow Raiders got numbers under the body. Crossfield kick, way too strong. Hartley, you can see him, the bottom of your shot, holds his head in anguish. Well, let's get a view from the sidelines on how this game's shaping up. Half an hour gone, 10-6 in favour of Leigh. Brian, what do you reckon?
Well, you got to credit the Barrow defence, don't you? Ian Millward's come down from his perch in the stands for a second time. I think he's trying to urge a bit of composure in his team. I think he'll expect Barrow to crack any time soon. They're under a lot of pressure, but he doesn't want his side to force the passes too much. He'll urge a bit of composure and wait for Barrow to capitulate, and I think that might be coming soon.
Well, Steve McCormack will be hoping that they can stand firm. 10-6 they trail, having been 6-0 up, but they haven't really had a sniff of the Leigh Centurions line since they scored that try from Rooney. But that is a great kick from Rooney. Oh, just too strong.
They needed that to stay in, didn't they, Barrow? Leigh straight on the counter again. Mick Nanning taking it in.
Nanning tackled on his own 30-metre line.
And again, they're just little simple plays then. Because the Barrow defenders on the right-hand side have chased so hard, they've tried to get the ball, tap it as quick as they can, and attack where there was no Barrow defenders.
Barrow defensive line looks very tired. Like a dog's hind leg. There's people up, people down. And Leigh look like they're going to expose it.
McGrath Luluai was trying to do that, brother of Wigan's Thomas. And the ball has been spilled again. It's back to 0, says the referee Gareth Ewer. Leigh tried to snaffle the ball. They knocked it on, and so Barrow have it back, and a big sigh of relief, I should imagine, from the Raiders camp there.
Tyrone, this is the first knock on by Luluai. Then Tyrone McCarthy goes in the next one, he strips the ball, that's why it's a one-on-one, and Barrow have got the ball back. Here it is, there's the strip. Barrow regain it.
Now here's Broadbent. Bounces off the tackle from Tyrone McCarthy. Been doing that all his career, Gary Broadbent, since he made his debut at Widnes 16 years ago. Here is Coyle now. Coyle, tackled by McGrath Luluai. His dad James, of course, a favourite at Hull FC. And briefly here at Leigh. And McGrath born in Wakefield. Now then, crossfield kick, looking for Rooney. Can Rooney get there? No, McGrath Luluai does.
That's the bounce of a rugby ball. That's the bounce of a rugby ball. You're never just quite sure where it's going to bounce.
Oh, and then Barrow in their frustration conceded the penalty. Fletcher it was.
And it is frustration, Bill. They've been under all kinds of pressure by the way Leigh have been playing. Good kick by Halliwell, and where does Luluai come from? He spots the threat. Jamie Rooney just doesn't quite get there. But again, you've got to make sure you don't give the penalties away. They've relieved all the pressure and all the hard work that they've done. Second ball on.
So they have got more than one ball.
McGrath Luluai will get another chance. Yep. Brother of Thomas, nephew of Kylie, nephew of Philip, cousin of Kylie.
Second, move.
We'll make no jokes about those lads, Tez. The big boys, them.
Armitstead gets that ball away.
And there's loads of them.
It's McConnell who's tackled. Here is Robbie Paul. Katic not going to be foxed by that little step from the former Kiwi international. Here is Matty Blythe, and Blythe again looking to get the pass away. Just bobbled forward, but he was looking. He really is looking to get a good link going with Dave Olstead there.
He's a talented player, trying to pass that ball in virtually an impossible position.
Unfamiliar territory, Matty Blythe. He's a former Leigh Miners Rangers player. In fact, Leigh Miners Rangers will be playing on this pitch at the weekend. The Challenge Cup tie. Next weekend, I beg your pardon. Just getting ahead of ourselves. Here is Gary Broadbent. Coyle. Noon now.
Barrow seem to have stopped Leigh in their momentum. Can they start to gain some? They've stopped the threat. Potentially Leigh looked 5 or so minutes ago, they looked like they were going to score every time they got the ball. That's somewhat halted. Can Barrow get that back?
Here is Liam Harrison, got the pass, and he got Dave Olstead at the same time, really. Trying to get Halliwell free on that side, and they've got Halliwell free on that side now. Now then, has he got the legs? He has, but he just put one of them in touch. But the second time in the last few minutes that Danny Halliwell have posed a threat down that side.
But it still shows that they're confident and they're still looking to move the ball. Halliwell's looking to offload, but his foot just goes in. His right foot. But you've got to say, all the pressure that Barrow have been under, and they're only 4 points behind. Steve McCormack will be happy with that. He won't be happy with the pressure they've been put under, but defensively on their own try line they've been very good.
Olsted's tackle, I think, was a crucial one. Coming up towards half-time then, and just the 4 points separating these two sides, and it did look a short time ago as though it'd be a lot more than that separating them in favour of Leigh Centurions, but they haven't managed to take advantage of the territory and the opportunities that they've had. But there might be another one coming their way here. Donlan, tackled by Luisi, penalty awarded for a high tackle.
And it's just all about building pressure. Zeb Luisi couldn't help himself there. He goes over the top of Stuart Donlan. No, it was a grab.
No. I'm not sure about that.
It wasn't a swinging arm.
That ball has gone forward.
That's justice for you.
Exactly.
That's
He's pinched it back.
It's karma.
Second move.
The penalty was harshly awarded against Zeb Luisi. That was, I don't think Chris Young was expecting that.
Third move.
Just got to the ball in time. It sort of hung in the air, tantalisingly ahead of him. Coyle, and again trying to work the ball wide. Here's Rooney.
Well, they're not frightened of throwing the ball around, although they've lost it. The referee says play on. Leigh are in attack.
Okay, 0.
Now then, can Leigh capitalise on this possession as the first half draws to a close? Here's Jake Emmett.
First move. Hold.
Rooney confronted by McCarthy, lost that ball. Now that was high, maybe.
Chris Young didn't miss. He did not miss there.
On young McCarthy it was.
And Robbie Paul in the background was pointing at Chris Young, saying, get at him, get at him. Tyrone McCarthy's run off Robbie Paul, straight in to a Chris Young haymaker.
Thanks for the tip.
There you go. Cheers, Robbie. I think you can run on your own next time, son.
Chris Young. Chris.
Well, the referee has actually called Chris Young out, so whether the incident will go on report.
Down his head. You've got to keep him down, all right? Make sure you get down.
And the penalty, well, they will get a chance for some points now then. Surely they'll run this, or will they go for two? No, the signal coming from the sidelines, I think, is go for the two.
Time on.
And that's what they're going to do, and not
being reviewed.
A unanimously accepted decision by the supporters. I think they wanted to have their side to have a go for something more than 2 points.
Do you know what though, Bill? I think it's the right decision, mate. You go for 2 points, 6 points in it then. If you get down the other end of the park later on in the second half, you go for the 1 point. Puts more pressure on the opposition.
Well, into the final minute of this first half, and that high shot from Chris Young, I think, has gone on reports.
About a minute. Robert, what's the time?
Certainly has been noted by the officials anyway. It was video ref Robert Hicks, I think, that suggested Gareth Hewitt should have a word. So Hartley, with this penalty opportunity, just a gentle swing of the boot, extends Leigh's lead to 12 points to 6 as the first half comes to an end. But you have to say, you thought at one stage it was going to be a lot more than that.
You think the pressure that Leigh have had, they've been putting Barrow under it, but as I said, they've been broken up this end of the park, Barrow, but defensively on the try line they've been very strong.
And that Hartley penalty is the final action of the first half of this championship opener.